your energy forecast for Tuesday, April 4th. So today we will have the moon move out of this Virgo energy and move into this Libran energy, kicking off the full moon window. Of course, we will have the full moon in Libra on Thursday, April 6th, but as we kind of lean into this Libran energy, we are definitely going to start feeling all of the feels that the full moon tries to illuminate for us. So we have 8 different aspects here today. 8 of them involve the moon, which means that it is a moon day, which means that we have some emotional refinement to do. We will have the moon in Virgo go void, of course, at 9:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We lock into that Libran energy at 5:52 p.m., which makes for a very, very long day. With the moon being void, of course, things are going to get shaky and unstable and uncertain, and all the work, all the productivity, all the certainty, all the confidence that we've been building over the last couple of days will definitely get shaky, definitely fall apart just a tad. And then, of course, we lock into that Libran energy where we try to achieve balance once again. But first, we have the moon in Virgo energy, trining with Venus, who of course is in her place of power in Taurus energy. I love this because it is grounding, it is stabilizing, it is showing us where it is that we are making progress, where we are kind of seeing a lot of growth, a lot of improvement, especially with identifying what it is that makes us happy and who, what and who provides us with joy, with pleasure, with peace, with harmony. Even more than that, we've been identifying our routines, the relationship dynamics, our money matters, and whether or not they're as strong, as stable, as secure as we need them to be. And of course, if we've identified that they're not, then this Virgo energy is helping us to come up with some solutions in order to make them the kind of foundations that we actually need. The moon will bump into Mercury. Mercury, of course, rules over this Virgo energy, and Mercury shifting into Taurus energy just yesterday, go ahead and listen to the astro forecast on that, provides us with an opportunity to get our heart and our head on the same page. Again, Virgo, Taurus, Earth on Earth. It's a beautiful thing. And we haven't had very many opportunities as of late to get our heart and head on the same page. And because this is in Earth energy, we are logical and practical. We are present. We are definitely feeling a good sense of where it is that the most energy, the most attention needs to be put into different areas of our lives in order to actually bring forth the changes, the transformations that are needed in order to provide us with the safety, security, and stability that we are seeking. Now, the last aspect that the moon in Virgo is going to make before going void, of course, is a direct opposition with Neptune, who, of course, is in Pisces energy, its place of power. Now, Pisces energy, Virgo energy, they sit across from each other in the zodiac wheel. This is what gives us our opposition here. And with this particular, I'm going to say, pop off of energy, we might find ourselves being pulled out of the present moment of the here and now and kind of floating off into space, into la la land, into dreamland, into imaginary land. Of course, that Neptune energy is very dreamy. It is very inspirational, very imaginative, very fantasy-like. And as much as this Virgo energy has been trying to keep us in the present moment, this is an interaction where we may struggle to actually stay present, to stay in the here and now, to stay practical, logical, and realistic, because this Neptune energy just has us floating off into a dreamy little mindset, a dreamy little situation where we are not in reality at all. We're trying to conjure up the kind of reality that we actually want to create. We have a tendency with this particular aspect to want to run away from the tasks and the chores and the roles and responsibilities that we have here in present life. Again, Neptune and Pisces energy, the escape artists of the zodiac. We tend to want to live in a dream realm instead of actually take part in this physical reality. So it is definitely a time, especially in the day, where we would rather not take care of business. We would rather not focus on the details of our physical lives. We would rather not focus on organizing and getting our shit together, which of course the moon in Virgo has been all about. And instead, we just want to live in a little bit of a fantasy world where everything is happy, everything is peachy keen, where we have no responsibilities, and where our to-do list is non-existent. So it is kind of setting the tone for a very weird, wonky type of day, because this is when the moon goes void, of course. So while the moon is void, we do have an interaction with the true node, and although we are not as certain as we have been over the last couple of days, not as sure, not as clear on where it is that the path, the direction of our future is actually taking us, we still have this glimpse of what it is that we have to do. And although it may be hard because of that last influence of Neptune and Pisces trying to pull us into imaginary land and hard to stay here in the present moment, we are still having one foot very, very grounded in the here and now, in our logical, practical realm of common sense, so that we don't float off too far into imaginary land and it's not as hard to kind of bring us back down to reality. As I mentioned, we will shift into this Libran energy at 5:52 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The very first aspect that we have with the moon in Libra is a beautiful trine with Pluto, who of course is in the very, very beginnings of Aquarian energy. So this is a trine because Libran energy, Aquarian energy, they're both air signs. So we're meeting in the intellect. Now, the Libran energy that our heart space, the moon, is currently in, is trying to show us where it is that we need to balance our emotions. And again, Libran energy, the whole point is to find balance, to find peace, to find harmony. However, we tend to examine through the process of this Libran energy where it is that we're living in extremes, where it is that the chaos is, where it is that we're having a hard time finding balance, peace, and harmony, in order for us to kind of dig in a little bit deeper and really see what is blocking us from achieving the kind of balance, the kind of stability that we, of course, are aiming for. And so the Pluto energy is the great transformer himself. And in Aquarian energy, of course, we are just scratching the surface on what it is that we are going to be dealing with for the next 20 years. But what we get out of this right now is a very interesting, in-depth perspective in our psyche, in our mental plane, in our heart space, to see where the extremes are, to see where the chaos is, so that we can kind of examine that, come up with a compromise, with a negotiation, if you will, between our heart and our head, figuring out how to get back in alignment with one another. And it is we're lucky that this is a harmonizing aspect, because Libran energy, we don't want to go deep. We want to stay in the shallow end. We don't even really want to talk about our emotions so much as talking about the way that we think about our emotions. And this Plutonian energy is all about kind of, ruffling some feathers and unearthing some shadow elements within us so that we can turn that darkness into light. We can turn that pain into power. And in this Aquarian energy, we're thinking about our futuristic realm of possibilities, that great big grand vision, picture, dream, and really understanding what it is that we have to do in the here and now in order to align with that vision and dream. And it all starts with having a little bit of an emotional balancing act take place. The moon will then bump into Uranus, the Great Awakener, who is in Taurus energy. This isn't the best interaction, but it is going to kind of give us a jolt, a little bit of a pow-pow, if you will, for us to see where it is that, yes, we want balance, we want peace, we want harmony, but where it is that we're actually preventing that from happening by holding on to our attachments to the physical realm, to physical relationships, to physical possessions, basically where it is that we're blocking the process of growth. And sometimes we need to really kind of see ourselves from that observer mentality in order to recognize where it is that we have to get out of our own damn way. The moon will then pop off with Mercury, who is now in this Taurus energy. And this is providing us a little bit of an opportunity to learn on what needs our attention. Of course, the moon being our heart space, Mercury being our head space, they're not on the same page right now. The moon being in Libran energy wants to understand why it is that we're not in balance, we're not experiencing peace and harmony within ourselves. And Mercury now, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, and expression, being in this Taurus energy, kind of has our mind space slowed down to a pace that is reasonable where we can actually complete a thought. And because we are now kind of focused on logical, practical matters in our physical realm in the here and now, again, this is going to illuminate for us where it is that we have to alter, we have to manipulate, we have to transform our physical realms in order to give us the space to actually achieve balance. And so that is like this learning opportunity to see where it is that we are disconnected between our heart and our head. And hopefully by analyzing that disconnect, we can see where it is that we got to get out of our own way, where we have to make some changes in order to restore that peace, that harmony, that balance once again. The last aspect that we have here today is the moon making a not so fun interaction with Mr. Saturn, the Lord of Karma, ruling over roles, responsibilities, structures, foundations, and of course, being fresh in this Pisces energy, it is all about deconstructing our false illusions, our false narratives, our false beliefs, where it is that we've been fibbing and lying to ourselves, and where it is that we kind of have to cut the crap, take the trash out, clear a space in order for something solid and real to be built in its place. Of course, we won't enter into that realm of existence for another year or so, but emotionally speaking, we are definitely seeing where the imbalances are in our emotions, in our lives, in our routines, in our beliefs, in our inner narrative. Because again, our beliefs are built off of our thoughts, our opinions, our narratives. And right now we're in the deconstruction mode of really kind of stripping away the falsehoods. And the moon being in this Libran energy, although wanting to stay in the shallow end, neither Saturn or the Pisces energy that Saturn is in supports shallowness at all. We're going all the way into the depths of our soul here. And this is what creates kind of a conflict for us, because we're very uncomfortable to move into the deeper realms of our emotions, of our soul selves. And we have to understand right now that balance and peace and harmony lay at the bottom of the deep end of the pool. And so we are going to have to move out of the comfort zone of the shallow end, the safety, the security of the shallow end, and really do a deep dive, to go really, really deep down and examine the deepest, darkest parts that we have essentially been trying to avoid by lying to ourselves and deluding ourselves and fibbing ourselves that everything is okay, when realistically we know that it's not. We just have to swim our asses down to the depths of the bottom of the pool in order to get real and raw and vulnerable with ourselves, to see what it is that we're actually unconsciously or consciously at this point putting a lot of time, effort, and energy in actually avoiding. So this is definitely going to bring a heavier narrative, a heavier weight to our heart space. We may be kind of overwhelmed with a negative narrative, with fears, with doubts, with insecurities, because you got to take your pool floaties off in order to actually dive down to the deep end. And so we are going to struggle with that, but it is a necessary action and stage for us to kind of make, especially as we move into the full moon energies, in order to illuminate for us where it is that within the relationship of ourselves, we have to kind of stop casting away the darkest parts of us and instead pick them up off the bottom of the pool floor, embrace them, integrate them, so that we can at least be operating from a state of wholeness, from a integrated state of understanding, emotion, and perspectives, so that we can get real and raw and vulnerable with ourselves on what needs to stay, what needs to go.